going on, guys? It's your girl Celeb Wifey.
And your boy Celeb Man.
Welcome back to our channel. So today we are going to be talking about miscarriage and how it has affected us and how it's affecting us going forward.
So guys, get some popcorn, get some drinks, get comfortable, get some tissues, and listen to our story, guys. I would say viewer discretion advised. Maybe not viewer, maybe more listener, as we're going to be very open and very detailed about, you know, some of the experiences that I say we, but she had.
Yeah. So if you've been following us for a while, you would have seen our pregnancy announcement. You would have seen the positive pregnancy playlist that we did with our plans to do week by week updates. I think we did like one. We did one
or two, yeah,
before things started to go wonky. Yeah, so basically what happened was that one day I just went to the toilet and I noticed a bit of spotting when I wiped. And obviously when you're pregnant, I think any little, if you're seeing blood down there, you're pregnant, you're going to be concerned naturally. So I went to Google first, as you do. And I was just like, okay, like just trying to figure out, is it something that I should go to like A&E for? Is it something I should call a doctor for? And most of the responses that I got was basically that early pregnancy spotting is quite normal. Sometimes it can be due to an increase in blood vessels in your cervix, and so when you're going to the toilet, that pressure of, you know, releasing can put pressure on the blood vessels and cause them to burst, and that's why sometimes you can see a bit of blood in in that.
In your underwear.
Yeah, so I kind of like, I was like, ah, cool, it is what it is. It happened for a few days. I wasn't too concerned about it.
Did you call wallet at this point?
No.
Okay.
I was just like, okay, because I was going to toilet every day at that point.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, that's just what
and it's normal. It's normal to experience this.
Yeah, it's quite common. So I think maybe about 3-4 days later, we went on a family trip to Sea Life. So we did like a whole going around the aquarium with the kids and stuff. And then we went to Vapiano's after, which is about a 25-minute walk from where we were. And when we got there, I went to the toilet and I noticed there was a lot more, like not fresh blood, but a lot more blood present when I wiped. So, okay, I've got a little bit of alarm bells ringing. I'm thinking, okay, what's going on here? But I kind of, again, chalked it down to, okay, I did a long walk. It's a hot day. I've been on my feet all day. It's probably just like gravity and just pressure on my cervix that's made this happen. Was that, basically? Yeah, I didn't really... It was a little bit concerning, but at the same time, I was like, there's probably a logical reason for it. So I didn't really take it to heart, really. So I just thought, let me keep an eye on it, see how it goes. And then if it continues, I'll contact someone. That went on for, I think, about 4 or 5 days. And
was it as heavy those next couple of days? Or just spotting? It was
heavier than what the initial spotting was, but it wasn't like fresh blood, which was, I don't know.
What's the significance of fresh blood? Because you keep saying fresh blood. What's the difference if it wasn't?
Okay, like it physically, like looking at it visually.
No, like why you keep on saying it wasn't fresh blood? Because would it be a big deal if it was fresh blood? Yeah, fresh blood is a concern. But
whereas blood present in like your discharge or whatever, it doesn't. It's not like bright red. It's like more pinkish. So it was there, but so it's not. Okay. It's not like an active.
So if you see fresh blood in your, that's something to be concerned about immediately.
I would be concerned.
Okay.
I would be concerned.
I didn't understand why you were saying fresh blood.
Yeah.
Okay.
So. So yeah, I think about 4 or 5 days later, it was still kind of going on. So at this point, I called 111 and they, go through the motions, and they booked me into the early pregnancy unit to have a scan and just kind of see what was going on. At this point, I was about 7 weeks. I think about 7 weeks. 7 weeks pregnant, and went to the scan, and the sonographer was saying like you can't be more than like 5 weeks. in my head I'm thinking that's wild, because my body is very regular. Like the cycle of my body, my periods, everything is very regular. So I catch my pregnancies very, very early, as in like a day or two after.
Literally, like
my
when we
period
had
is late.
Zay, she knew.
I knew the day that my period was due.
Day,
No, it wasn't even. It was the day my period was due. I found out that I was pregnant.
No, well, okay, yeah, but the following.
And it was pretty much the same this time around. The day that I was due, I found out I was pregnant. So I catch it very early on. So and I'm like my period is regular, so there isn't much room for there to be a discrepancy in what the sonographer is saying and what my app is saying, if that makes sense, even though I'm not a doctor.
No.
But so that kind of threw me a little bit, but I was like, okay, 5 weeks. He couldn't really see anything. He's like, I can see that there's like a sac there, but I can't see a fetus just yet, but that's normal at this point. So I'm like, okay, cool. So he said, let's give it 2 weeks and then we'll do another scan and see how the development's going. And let me tell you, that was the longest 2 weeks of my life. The spotting was still happening.
The spotting was throughout the whole 2 weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah. They didn't stop. It was just
didn't
there.
Stop at all, yeah.
And so I don't know. I think it's just the anxiety of is it okay? Is it not okay? I don't think I had a definitive feeling like, oh, this isn't working or it's gonna be okay. So I just had to, bide my time and wait. I think about halfway through the time, or a few days before the second scan, I woke up to like fresh blood, like in the bed, and that kind of freaked me out a bit.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, okay, should I go A&E? Should I do? But when I actually went to the toilet and wiped, there was no blood, which was weird. So I called a dear friend of mine who's a doctor, and she advised me. She was like, if it continues like bleeding, definitely go to A&E. But she did also say the same thing, that bleeding or spotting in early pregnancy is quite normal, so it's not really a cause for concern. So I just waited, to be honest. I was like, I'm going to see the sonographer in a couple of days. We're going to know what's going on. So I just kind of
waited to see
carried
what was
on,
going to
really.
happen. Yeah.
And then it was just spotting. In fact, no, I think it stopped a little bit. It kind of cleared up a bit. And then the day I went for the scan, the spotting started again. So now we've gone for the second scan and there's been no change, basically. It's still presenting as 5 weeks pregnant, essentially. And we were told that basically we'd had what's called a silent miscarriage. So basically what happens, your body thinks you're pregnant, you have like the gestational sac and everything, but there's no actual baby inside it. And so I was having a few symptoms, not much, very light symptoms, like first trimester symptoms, but it wasn't too bad. I don't think I'd started having the nausea yet, but I started having the fatigue and the tender breasts and all that kind of thing that you get.
So your body was operating like it was pregnant.
Yeah.
But there was no
developing.
fetus developing inside the egg.
Yeah, inside the sac.
Inside the egg, inside the sac. There was no fetus actually developing. Basically. So it probably the sperm died beforehand or something happened.
No, well, I wouldn't say the sperm died. I think it started.
It
didn't develop beyond a ball of cells, basically.
Yeah.
At that point.
But your body still was acting as if it was pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's so crazy because I don't know. It's weird. It's weird when you're told that kind of news, because it's like, how do you even respond to that? Like, I think I got quite emotional straight away, and it surprised me, which surprised me a lot.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting to be upset by it because it's very early. Like, we hadn't really connected with the pregnancy, even though we were excited. We were really excited about it.
I think we was both really upset. I think we both cried when we heard that the fetus didn't develop, and I think it's because we were really excited to have a second baby, and we had planned it. We planned it, so we planned the timing of the pregnancy as well.
Yeah.
And we planned it for when the baby will be due, and we had some plans for next year. Well, this current year, so the baby would have been born now, essentially. So that we can do some things in the future. But so all that basically had to change, and I felt like the emotion was because everything was running so smoothly up until that point. Do you know what I'm saying? Everything was running smoothly. We were both super excited. We got pregnant when we planned to get pregnant, and then it's like this happened. So it was just a lot. It was a lot to digest at the time. And it was very emotional for sure. You know, even me, like I wasn't really connected to the pregnancy at the time. Like I said, it was only a couple of weeks in. But I think I was connected to the idea a lot more. So I was very upset when, you know, when we found out that you lost a baby or you had a miscarriage.
It was a weird time. Because I definitely didn't think that it would affect me the way that it did. And to this day, I can't put my finger on what it is, but there is something about losing a child. Not that I could say it was a child, and I don't think I could ever know what it would be like to lose a child that you actually got to know. But it's a similar kind of thing, I would imagine. So yeah, the doctor offered us a pill to terminate the pregnancy, which I took because I didn't feel like, if I've been bleeding for like 3 weeks already, there was no way this thing was gonna come out by itself, in my opinion. So I was just like, yeah, let me just take the pill and just get it over and done with.
I mean, there wasn't no baby there anyway.
And so it wasn't like, I've heard stories of like, you know, people that have had abortions and stuff like that, and it's been really painful. Even miscarriages, to be fair, miscarriage and abortions where it's been painful. But I think for me, because I'd already had a child, my cervix had already, you know, been fully dilated. It wasn't as painful for me, so I managed to go through the miscarriage without taking any pain relief. Just like a hot water bottle and like a TENS machine. It was really all I used. And then the bleeding obviously continued for another 2 weeks. And then I had to go for another scan at the end of that to confirm that the pregnancy was fully terminated, which it was. And that doctor advised that we should wait 2 months before we try or not 2 months, 2 cycles. So I should have 2 periods before we try to get pregnant again. And if I'm planning to get pregnant straight away, then I should start taking the folic acid straight away. To prepare for that. So yeah, I think for me, I was done. I was like, I'm not ready to like jump straight back into it. I want to use the rest of this year and the beginning of next year to focus on my health, my weight loss journey, which was what I was focusing on before I got pregnant, and it was going well. So I was like, okay, what I'll do is I'll continue, try and get a little bit closer to pre-Zay weight, so that I can have a healthier pregnancy next time around. But this man right here had very different plans, and I conceived in December.
I was just like, there's no point waiting around. We're ready on the journey. Let's just get back on the journey. There's just no point.
Yeah, but
no point waiting around.
But you didn't say that to me, so
I did say it to you.
No, you did not.
You just didn't. No, Hayley, I did.
No, you didn't. Because I was not expecting to get pregnant. Because if that was the case, I would have been taking the folic acid, and I wasn't. So now when I found out I'm pregnant again in December, no, January is when I found, was it January or December that I found out?
I mean, you know, I didn't use protection.
Yeah, but that's a different story. For now.
Exactly. So you would have known, and it wasn't like this one-time conception. Exactly.
We're not going to talk about that right now. But basically, I'm not going to lie.
Because she knows.
Shut up. I'm not going to lie. I was not happy about being pregnant. I was thinking every time I make plans, it gets wiped out. Like, I was just frustrated. I was just thinking, I'm trying to lose weight here. Like, let me try and get some level of fitness back before I get pregnant. And this one come along and impregnates me. And so now I've got to be here with my unhealthy self and suffer through pregnancy. So yeah, I wasn't happy at all. And on top of that, it was during the time that his mum was essentially on her deathbed, so it was a very trying time. There wasn't really time to focus on the pregnancy or to be happy about it, or to it was just a weird time. It was a weird time with just a lot of I want to say negative emotions, or like sad emotions. Basically, it was just a very sad time, so I felt like it was the wrong timing as well. So it felt more of a burden to me than anything, because as well, my husband's going through a rough time, and I should be supporting him, but he's supporting me because I'm going through first trimester and I'm too sick to flipping do anything. I'm tired all the time, I'm sleeping all day, and all these crazy things that's happening. It was just like, I had a lot of guilt.
Did you?
Yeah.
What did you tell me?
Because it wasn't about me, it was about you, children. So yeah, I felt really guilty that I tried to be there for you in the best way I could, but I felt like I couldn't be there the way I needed or should have been, or the way you maybe needed me to be. So yeah, that was, yeah. I think even now, it's like it wasn't until recently that we've started to kind of be excited for the pregnancy.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then
clouded with other emotions, isn't it?
Yeah, and then on top of that is the emotions of, okay, we've just had a miscarriage. Like, is this gonna be a successful pregnancy? Like, you have all that anxiety again. For me, I'm thinking, I didn't prepare myself. I didn't prepare my body to carry this pregnancy. I wasn't taking my vitamins. I wasn't taking the folic acid and trying to, eating right necessarily and doing all those things. So I'm thinking, have I screwed this up before it's even started? Because I can't live with, if I had another miscarriage, 2 miscarriages in a row, I'm done. Like, I'm not even gonna try again, I'll be honest with you. So you're pulling that face, but that's how I felt.
Okay. Felt, yeah.
That's how I felt. Like,
I
don't, even now, like, I'm not out of the woods. You're never out of the woods, to be honest. And I think having a miscarriage makes you realise how fragile
pregnancy is.
Not just pregnancy, even life. But yeah, pregnancy is a very fragile thing. And that's not to scare you, for those of you that haven't had kids yet, but it's just to be realistic. I remember when I was pregnant with Zay, it was amazing. It was an exciting time. I didn't think anything bad in the world could ever happen, and I had the smoothest pregnancy, the smoothest birth, the smoothest everything. He's been an amazing first child.
Facts.
Enough to fool us into doing it again. So yeah, like, having this experience literally just shattered all of the rainbows and all of the fantasy and all the excitement about it. And so you have a more realistic kind of view of things. And so even though I've passed the first trimester now and I'm safe in that respect, anything can happen. Like, I know I've heard of pregnancies that didn't make it past 5 months. I've heard of pregnancies that made it to full term and the baby didn't survive. Like, you just never know. But I think at the same time, there has to be a balance in how you look at things. You can't spend your whole pregnancy dreading, what if this happens, what if that happens, You have to keep a positive outlook. Be aware that those things can happen, but keep that positive mindset. Because I think that I'm a firm believer in energy, and I believe that the energy that you put out can really, like, affect everything, especially like with Zay. Everything was positive. I did hypnobirth, and then I fed a lot of positive energy into my pregnancy, and I felt like it was a very powerful and empowering experience. And he came out great. He was so calm when he was born. He's been a calm child ever since. Like, he's not a problem child at all.
Apart from when he's needy.
Huh?
Apart from when he's needy.
When he's needy.
And that's just needy for daddy, nobody else.
He's needy for me sometimes. Sometimes he's coming to me. I think it's lately, probably because I'm pregnant, he can probably sense it, but he's always been coming to me for cuddles. Like, he's coming to me for cuddles, and when I don't want to be touched, he just always wants to be touching me. But other than that, he's an angel. But yeah, like, it definitely, having a miscarriage definitely does make you kind of have a more realistic outlook.
So what tips would you give to anybody now that if they have had a miscarriage, what tips would you give to anybody now?
I wouldn't say it's tips, I would say more so like advice.
Yeah, sorry, advice, that's what I meant. Anyway.
Yeah, like, because there's nothing you can do about it. There is nothing you can do, and most likely 9 times out of 10, unless you, in fact 10 times out of 10, unless you're a bad person and you deliberately tried to do something to terminate your pregnancy, it was not your fault. Like, it's a common part of life that it just happens. Like, what is it, 1 in 4 pregnancy, or 1 in 4 women experience miscarriage.
It's funny because when we had the experience the miscarriage, obviously people at that point, people knew that we was pregnant. One, from the video we posted on YouTube, but we had just told a few people as well. And when they were following up, asking, oh, how's the pregnancy? And we were like, oh no, we lost the baby. The most common response was like, don't worry, it's gonna be okay. I lost the baby as well. And I think it was every single woman we spoke to had experienced a miscarriage. Literally every single one. And it was so shocking, but more in a comforting way, that you know that this is not a 1 in a million. How dare this happen to us? It's that, you know what, this is actually quite common, and draw strength in that. You know, knowing that, like you said, it wasn't something that you did, or that we did, or that Hayley did that caused the miscarriage. It's just something that's quite common that happens. And you know, in my opinion, if it does happen, just get right back on the horse. It's my opinion. When you fall off, just get right back on the horse.
Yeah.
I personally would also say, talk to people, talk to your loved ones, especially those who have had children, because they can give you so much advice, give you so much comfort that you need. When you deal with these things by yourself and you keep things internal, oftentimes you can draw upon certain like depression strings and like alone or loneliness kind of thing, and you don't want to get into that kind of space for something that is very common. Most people would have experienced it or know someone who has experienced it. So being able to talk with them and just draw some comfort for them would be a great thing that I think anyone can do.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I think that's things to remember. You're not alone. It's very common. It's very common. Like it happens. It's just a normal part of life, really. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't have children again. So do try again. And
then, whether she wants to or not, no, I'm joking.
There was something else I was gonna say and it's gone out of my mind. But yeah, talk to people. I don't understand why it's not talked about. Why did I have to go through a miscarriage to find out that this is a common thing that almost everyone goes through it? Do you know what I mean? I feel like this is definitely a conversation that needs to be had more often. I think a lot of women's health situations need to be spoken about more openly, to be honest, because a lot of us suffer in silence. And, you know, and even sometimes you go to a doctor and they just kind of brush it off. Like, I feel like we need to do more to share our experiences and help each other. Because as a woman, we go through a lot.
100%.
A lot of stuff. And a lot of the time we do it on our own because we feel like we're the only ones.
And what I'll say, guys, as well is just stay positive. You know, have a positive mindset, have a positive outlook, and you know, always try and put yourself in a positive space. One thing that I know she would definitely recommend is hypnobirthing. Such a great way and a great tool to kind of help your mindset stay positive and help you understand, you know, pregnancy from multiple aspects. But I think that's a video for
another time.
That's something for
a whole video in itself.
Another video in itself, for sure.
Yeah.
But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any comments or have any experiences yourself, guys, please feel free to put them in the comments. We love to read your own stories and your own comments and your own advice, as we're still growing and we're still learning. So we'll definitely love to read your comments.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Anyway, thank you for watching. We hope you learned something, and maybe that you don't feel alone if you've been through something like this. You can always hit me up. You can talk to me. Hit me up on Instagram or whatever if you feel like you want to talk, and we can discuss as women do, you know? Yeah.
Alright, guys. Peace.
Peace.